Now I'm going to move on to the filter. So this filter, it's a multi-mode filter, and you've got a lot of different options. You've got two low pass, 12 and 24 dB. The 24 dB is just a sharper slope, so more frequencies cut out above the cutoff frequency. And I'll let you hear the 12 because that's the default. It's a nice warm filter. I'm going to put some resonance in. Really great sound. You can hear how the sort of peak frequency at the top of the cutoff point is really accentuated when I have the resonance up. And that goes even further with the 24 dB. Really warm sound. It's pretty unique. As a low-pass filter goes, it sounds a little bit like the Moogs, but not really that close. Every filter in here has its own personality, and you can also get the band pass, which is a really great sound design feature. Just selecting a small band of the sound, really taking out a lot of harmonics, and it's a good tool if you want to get a really specific type of sound from your initial oscillators. You've also got your high-pass filter for getting just the high frequencies. And finally, you have a notch filter, which is sort of more of an effect, just sort of accentuates, decentuates it. That's not a word. I don't think it's a word. It takes out a certain frequency in the spectrum. So you can sort of hear the whole really sweeping when I get further up. And of course, you can modulate that too. You can get a great sound. And you can also turn on a second filter, which is a 12 dB per octave low-pass filter. You can't change the second one. It's just that mode. But it's nice to have if I have a high-pass filter. That way you can get kind of a band pass effect with different resonances at the different sides of the band with a high pass and a low pass. So it's a wow, that was loud. It's a good feature to have. So I definitely like that about this, but let's turn that filter off for now. You can also link the filters, so if you're modulating one, the other one will modulate too, which is definitely a good feature. Now I'm just going to set this to the 24 dB low pass. I like that one a lot. I'm going to set the filter down, and I'm going to move on to the envelopes. Now, the filter envelope is pretty straightforward as far as envelopes go. ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. The attack is going to affect how quickly the filter comes in. The decay is going to affect how quickly the filter goes back down to the sustain amount. And then the release is how quickly the filter goes down to no modulation after the key is lifted. So if I put this on a really snappy decay, no sustain, and I'm going to tune, it's not going to do anything if the amount's down. That's important. And there you go. Now you've got the filter going. So that's really useful. There's a lot of different envelopes you can get with the filter to create completely different sounds. It's really the filter and the filter envelope are really the core of subtractive synthesis. If I put a longer attack time, longer decay down to 0, and then some release. The amp envelope works the same way with the loudness of the signal. There's also a master level, but I'm just going to do some amp stuff too. A little bit of attack, some high sustain, long release, and let's listen to how this sounds. If I up the resonance, we're going to get a really nice analog-y sound. That is fat. So after the envelopes and the filters, we've also got a separate envelope for modulation, which is really great for a synth like this, which is sort of an homage to the original subtractive synthesizers, and they didn't have a mod envelope. They just had their filter and amp envelopes. So this is a real treat. You can use this to modulate 6 different parameters. You can do oscillator 1 pitch, so that's going to be pretty obvious. Let's tune in some attack and decay. Let's do it more. So you get that sort of laser gun feel because the pitch is just going so quickly. I'm going to do it even more just to exaggerate it. There you go. You can also do the same to oscillator 2. You can do... That's actually really nice if you turn on some FM and then you mix it all to oscillator 1 and modulate oscillator 2. You can get some interesting effects. Some crazy screaming FM sounds. I'm going to dial that back down though. You can also do the mix between the oscillators. There's sort of a crossfader here, and you can mix between them. So if I dial it down to 26, put the amount up. The second one is a 5th up, so if I put the attack up, you'll hear the 5th fade in. You can also, of course, modulate the amount of FM. I'm not going to go too crazy with that because we've been getting some clipping. And you can also do the phase modulators. I promised you can modulate them, and you can. So let's do that. That sounds pretty nice. It's a subtle effect, just like a lot of... Well, no, some phasing effects are very unsubtle, but this phasing effect is nice and subtle, just adds a little bit of something that you can't quite put your finger on in the oscillators. And finally, you can modulate the second filter frequency. So if I turn that back on, it's like a second filter envelope. Is it Christmas? I don't know. Feels like it. So you heard that first filter envelope, and now the second one is hopefully opening up, maybe? Yeah, no, I think we're just out of frequency at this point. Let me... That is mysterious. I'm going to put that on the phase. I like it on the phase a lot.